Tunnel warfare. Yes, Hamas had built tunnels all over Gaza Strip. Somebody said, well, what do you mean tunnel warfare in Gaza Strip? About every street going, say, there's building here, there's buildings here, and then you got the street in the middle, you got sewer lines, water lines, what have you there. They're finding out that along this street, there's tunnels going underneath. Along that street, there's tunnels going underneath. It's a city under the city. Similar to 1906 in San Francisco, the earthquake. It's said that Chinatown dropped 12 feet because of the tunnels. In Vietnam, Americans found out what tunnel warfare is, and it was all over the place. I mean, you're talking multi-storage, multi-layer tunnels under villages, under cities. The VC dug tunnels, and they've been fighting wars for centuries. And they would go into tunnel warfare all the time. I mean, these are massive complexes underground. They fought the French, they fought the Japanese, they fought the Americans. And Americans walked into tunnel warfare. Under major cities all around the world, you will find tunnels. Rome, you find tunnels, catacombs, what they call it, catacombs. Many cities, well, they were building above, they were also getting their stone quarries from underneath. If you're on a limestone, you will find out there's tunnels there. In Turkey, there is a town made into the cliffs, which was pretty good until the invention of gunpowder, which meant your enemy could basically drop the roof on you. In Afghanistan, caves and tunnels. I believe they were Hannibal, way back when, found the same thing out. The British found it out. The Russians found it out. And the Americans, it took the Americans 20 years to find out. What's a tunnel? Well, there's a cave here, and there's tunnels inside the cave. Yes. One of the reasons in Afghanistan was for storage of cattle, farm animals, especially in the wintertime. Large animals and that you would store in caves and with a small fire to keep the place warm and that. But Hamas, Israel has found out that the whole place is covered with tunnels. Oh yeah, well they have the manpower to dig the tunnels, and of course they got the American Palestinians to come in and help dig the tunnels. Hamas is alive and well in the United States. If you go into places like Chinatown, Chicago has Chinatown. They go into Chinatown. They raise the streets in Chicago up, one story up, for sewer lines. And so back then you had a 2-story building with a basement. Now you got a 3-story building with 2 basements. Yeah. And all under Chicago, there's all these massive tunnels because the streets were above the river line. New York the same way. Europe is tunnels. Many old cities had nothing but tunnels. One is to remove the sewage. Also, heat of the day, people would go down into tunnels. So we got tunnel warfare. But basically now, since Hamas attacked Israel, and Israel's found all those tunnels, as they said, just about every block has tunnels in them. Every building has a tunnel in that thing. Yeah, they're all connected. They may be as someone says, that there's a house with a tunnel, and there's a wall there. But all they do is chip through the wall, and they're in a tunnel. As Israel has found out, tunnel warfare is really bad. It can get you killed because you don't know what's in the tunnel. Usually it's poison gas or explosives. Another thing, tunnel warfare is the tunnels between Mexico and the United States, which can run a mile, mind you, under the river. You know, they're 100 feet deep. They go for a mile. What do you mean they go for a mile? They're air conditioned, they're lighting, they may have a railroad track in it. Moving people? No, moving drugs. Hey, in Canada, one of the things in Canada during Prohibition back in the 20s was to have tunnels between Canada and the United States, which ran underground. They didn't have to be deep underground. They just have to be underground. So on Canadian side, you got guys digging a tunnel. On the American side, you got something, and they meet in between, and they move basically on a little railroad track. Cases of whiskey. Yeah. Now it's drugs. So tunnel warfare is tunnel warfare. I don't want to go into a tunnel. Not when you know what could possibly be in it, outside of spiders, rats, booby traps, usually gas, exhaust, auto exhaust. But it's bad. That's tunnel warfare. And it will be a thing of the future. They expect, well, remember that Ukraine was once dominated by Russia, and they dug deep fallout shelters and bomb shelters and tunnels. So what do the Russians do when they enter a city now? They gas the tunnels. They gas the fallout shelters. Well, hey, that's Russians. They had a hard time in Afghanistan. But they learned a lesson. It took us 20 years to learn the same thing. And what are they doing in Afghanistan? They're still digging tunnels. Oh, brother.